Good evening and welcome to this edition of the Evening News for today, Saturday, March the 2nd, 2024. I am Jarrell Bryan. Thank you for tuning in. In the headlines, 6 homeless after fire destroys East CANJE house. Peace and love as Presidents Ali and Maduro exchange gifts in St. Vincent. CELAC can play pivotal role in region's climate, energy and food security, President Ali. Way clear to advance bilateral agenda between Guyana, Dominican Republic, PM PHILLIPS. GTU must call off strike to re-engage government, Minister Hamilton. And cattle, sheep and goats dying as quarantine savannas dry up. Now for the news in detail. We begin tonight's newscast by telling you that 6 persons are now homeless after an early morning fire destroyed their 2-story home in East CANJE, Region 6, East Berbice, Corentyne. Our Berbice correspondent Andrew Carmichael joins us with the details.
Smoke was initially seen at about 7:30 on Saturday morning. 64-year-old Elna Thornhill, who shared the house with her husband, daughter, son-in-law and 2 grandchildren, told Evening News that she was in the bathroom of the lower flat of the 2-story building when she was alerted that the house was on fire. Her daughter, Melissa Romalo, related that she immediately sprang into action to get her 2 children, ages 5 and 7, to safety. She said it was not until she had reached outside that she realized the smoke was coming from the upper flat.
All I see is smoke, and I just come out with my kids outside.
Where you saw the smoke?
I see the smoke from, when I came outside, the smoke was coming from upstairs.
What were you doing at the time?
My normal routine, I was talking to my husband. When I finished, I was going and look the kids. Yeah, that was it. Normal routine in the morning.
That was about what time?
Around 7:30.
So when you saw the smoke, what exactly you did?
I just looked for the kids, make sure they were outside. And then called the neighbors, everybody to move for.
I was in the shower and my gentleman running and said fire, 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 fire. As he really can't communicate much because he had a stroke. And I run out the bathroom naked skin. Then I run back in the bathroom from a towel. Like me and people know what I really do, you know, because I run in the bedroom from a bag and then I run back and be running up and down like I guess like you know, I was so confused.
We have the AC, TV, our clothes, a lot of things. Everything was damaged, everything was gone down.
What is the next move now that all this that the fire damaged your home?
I don't know the next move.
Family members were high in their prayers for members of the Guyana Fire Service. While the family was not able to estimate their damages, Thornhill, a businesswoman, explained that her stock for business which she operates at Pitt Street, New Amsterdam, was also damaged in the fire.
And I run back and the fire was too much. Not the fire, the heat, because I was running to go upstairs to see if me granting because I'm with these children. But I didn't know, but when I go up the step inside, the heat and the fire was too much. I had to come out back. And I come outside and then I'm going back inside because he didn't even get on nothing. You know, man. But it's a traumatic experience for me, and I didn't think I 64 years. We're starting from, we're doing, we're gonna get back all the important papers, guy, you gotta go through a whole long process to get them things. Me never, better than dead man, me never. Because we're gonna start from. I suffer too much in life, I go through too much hardship. Sleep on people's floor, this door, and some will go back to the same time and I have to give them a break. I know this. But anyway, God is in charge and I suppose everything will be well.
The fire service is currently trying to determine the cause of the blaze, but had been hard pressed today, having to attend to grass fires in the region, with 1 fire tender available since 2 tenders are currently down. Meanwhile, Persons desirous of making contact with the family can do so on telephone number 653-6497 or 662-9740. For the evening news, Andrew Carmichael.
Meanwhile, following a recent upsurge of brush and grass fires across the country, the Guyana Fire Service is urging citizens to exercise extreme caution and take the necessary precautions to prevent the spread of fires. According to the Fire Service, persons should refrain from any activities that could potentially spark fires, such as deliberately setting grass or garbage on fire, discarding cigarettes, or using equipment that generate heat or sparks in dry vegetation areas. The Fire Service is also calling on persons who notice any signs of smoke or fire to immediately make a report via the 912 hotline, their Neighborhood Democratic Council or Regional Democratic Council, and for those in the hinterland communities to their Tashaus or village leaders. Additionally, persons are being asked to ensure that their property is adequately prepared for fire prevention by clearing away dry vegetation, maintaining defensible space, and having fire extinguishing tools readily available. Only on Thursday, the fire service was called in to contain a grass fire along the University of Guyana Road at Turkine, Greater Georgetown. That blaze had posed a threat to 3 buildings in the vicinity, but efforts by the firefighters managed to contain the grass fire. This comes as firefighters in Lethem worked over the past week to combat wildfires that have devastated the savannas and farmlands in the area, especially impacting the residents of Napi in Region 9. The fire, which began last Sunday and was fueled by dry and windy conditions, took a 100-member team from the joint services to extinguish the blaze. Amid tensions over the ongoing border controversy between the two neighboring countries, President Dr. Irfaan Ali on Friday exchanged gifts with his Venezuelan counterpart, Nicolas Maduro, in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The two South American leaders are currently in SVG for the 8th summit of the Community of Latin American and Caribbean States, CELAC. On the sidelines of the summit, President Ali presented his Venezuelan counterpart with a bottle of rum made in Guyana and a medal, while he received a box full of Venezuelan products from President Maduro. In fact, the Venezuelan president said peace and love in English as he shook the hand of President Ali. Let's have a look at the interaction.
Peace offering. Peace offering. ¿Qué me vas a regalar aquí? Liquid. Liquid. Phoenix Caribbean Room. Ajá. Excelente. Yo también te tengo un regalo. Ah, yo también te tengo un regalo. Puros productos hechos en Venezuela. Estamos produciendo el 97% de alimentos por primera vez en el mejor ron del mundo. Vea. ¿Ah? Bueno. Wonderful.
Meanwhile, during his address to the 8th Summit of the Community of Latin American and Caribbean States in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, President Dr. Irfaan Ali underscored the important role CELAC can play in ensuring the climate, energy, and food security of the region. More in this report.
CELAC can play a pivotal role in seeking to address issues that impact the sustainable development of the region, such as climate change, energy security, and food and nutrition security.
That was President Dr. Irfaan Ali speaking during the plenary session of the CELAC Summit in St. Vincent and the Grenadines on Friday. The Guyanese leader, who is also the current chairman of CARICOM, pointed out that climate change and extreme weather conditions have begun to put the world's food production and food security at risk, a situation that has worsened by the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic.
Guyana, as lead in CARICOM on this initiative, continues to advocate for food and nutrition security in the region. My government welcomes collaborative efforts and partnerships in a retooling effort to build the necessary capacity to meet the rising need for expertise in advancement of this sector.
President Ali outlined the efforts taken by his government to combat climate change.
The government has embarked on the implementation of a low-carbon development strategy, which focuses on forests, climate, and other ecosystem services, stimulation of future growth through clean energy and sustainable economic activities, protection against climate change, and alignment of the country's economic and social policies with global climate goals. Guyana reiterates its call for the fulfillment of financial commitments needed to address and support climate mitigation, adaptation, and loss and damage, especially in vulnerable countries.
To this end, the Guyanese head of state underscored the importance of forest and climate mitigation and adaptation efforts in the region.
I believe that CELAC must galvanize its advocacy for the sustainable management of forests and the conservation and enhancement of forest carbon stocks, REDD+ processes, and other policy approaches as decided by the Conference of Parties to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, and therefore most appreciative of the invitation extended by His Excellency President Lula da Silva for Guyana to present to the G20 in July of this year our model for the preservation of the forests, a model that Guyana would be happy to present to member states of CELAC at the earliest possible opportunity. Guyana stands firmly committed to the community of Latin American and Caribbean states. I look forward to working with you all in preserving the fabric of this integration mechanism. The collective commitment of all of us to international law, the safety and security of our people and region, the safeguard of democracy, and the upliftment of the dignity of all our people is paramount.
Rupa Sinarayan, The Evening News.
Coming up on the other side of the break, GTU must call off strike to re-engage government, Minister Hamilton. Please stay tuned.
Poultry farmers, save money and increase your production rate by cutting the time it takes to pluck your chickens with a plucking machine from Sylvies. We have them available in small, medium and large sizes. Replacement motors and plucking fingers are also readily available. Order yours now at sylviesonline.com or at our locations at 31 High and Hatfield Street, Georgetown, or Lot 90 East Henrietta S.
BILATERAL, stop the finest in the country. Both ceramic and porcelain, ties and chandeliers you'll see while you shop around stress-free. Well-trained staff and warming halls make your shopping smooth and calm, providing you with quality to match your style is so unique. BILATERAL.
Welcome back. You're watching the evening news. As ties between Guyana and the Dominican Republic continue to deepen, Prime Minister Brigadier Retired Mark Phillips has pronounced that the way has been clear to further advance the bilateral agenda between the two countries. Here are the details. On Friday evening, a reception was held to observe the 180th independence anniversary of the Dominican Republic, DR. Over the past year, there has been an accelerated increase in ties between the DR and Guyana. Prime Minister Retired Brigadier Mark Phillips, who gave the feature address at the function, made it clear that the appointment of DR Ambassador Ernesto Torres Pereira clears the way for even deeper ties.
The government of Guyana welcomes this partnership that has been developed between our two countries, and we have noted the commitment on the part of the Dominican Republic with the establishment of an embassy in Guyana last year, June. And your appointment, Excellency, now creates an appropriate conduit for the implementation and execution of our bilateral agenda. For our part, we're committed to working with the Dominican Republic to give impetus to the several working groups that will serve to advance the program of cooperation. These engagements will provide very practical support in the management of the outcomes of the multiple initiatives of mutually beneficial cooperation.
These initiatives include the sky-high Dominicana airline, which commenced operations between Santo Domingo and Guyana only a few weeks ago. And according to the Prime Minister, there is scope for so much more. Meanwhile, the DR ambassador also spoke about how far relations between the two countries had come. According to him, bilateral partnerships between Guyana and the DR continue to grow every day.
In less than a year, we have already signed over 10 cooperation agreements, and we have received already reciprocal presidential visits. We have also established a strong bond on the private sector, and we have received the visit of important corporations from the Dominican Republic, including the Punta Cana Group in the field of tourism, and we have also InterEnergy in the area of energy production. And as well, we have already important corporations from the Dominican Republic that are operating successfully here, like is the case of Terrestra, and in the area of construction, and also in the case of Panama.
Guyana and the Dominican Republic have established diplomatic relations since the 1970s. Jarrell Bryan, The Evening News. Labour Minister Joseph Hamilton has stated that the Guyana Teachers Union must call off its strike action, which has now been extended into 4 weeks, if it wants to re-engage the Guyana government on the needs of teachers. Trishelle Sobers has the story.
The court ordered mediation between the Guyana government and the Guyana Teachers Union commenced on Friday, and after 6 hours of discussion, it was announced that both parties will continue their mediation on Monday in an effort to end the stalemate that has led to the ongoing strike action by teachers. During a live discussion on the Guyana Dialogue, Labour Minister Joseph Hamilton said fundamentally negotiations cannot continue once the Education Ministry is under duress. Hamilton explained that GTU must call off the strike, let teachers return to the classroom, and make the necessary arrangements to resolve the issue amicably. In this regard, he added that roundtable discussions are the only method needed to, quote, iron out the outstanding issues.
It don't matter what the GTU do or don't do. At the end of the day, to re-engage, they have to call the strike off. They have to create the necessary conditions for re-engagement. They cannot ask the Ministry of Education to let us go back to the table when they still have a strike on the road. Teachers are still out of their classrooms.
During the live discussion, the Labour Minister also disclosed that the strike action prompted the Education Ministry to conduct a teacher's productivity analysis to determine the workload of teachers on a daily basis. According to Hamilton, the investigation revealed that on any given day prior to the strike, only 70% of teachers report to work. He noted that this is detrimental to education delivery in Guyana.
There is never 100%, 90%, 80%, 70%. I mean, that was a shock and alarm. That the assessment allowed us to pay attention to the matter you have just raised, my friend, about productivity. If you extend it further, you can now understand, perhaps, why we have so much weaknesses in some areas of education delivery and pass rates and all that kind of thing, because you never have in the schools maximum teachers turning out to work to do their jobs.
Trishelle Sobers, Evening News.
The Housing Ministry has allocated house lots to 150 residents of Bartica Region 7, Cayuni Mazaruni, who will soon call the new extension of the 5 Mile housing scheme their home. Rupert Sinarine has the details.
The first batch of persons had the opportunity to select their respective lot numbers on Friday after Housing Minister Colin Crowell and the Chief Executive Officer of the Central Housing and Planning Authority Sherwin Graves led an outreach at the Bartica Community Center ground. Some 99 acres of land have been acquired, serving as phase 2 of the 5-mile housing scheme.
We have 541 pending applicants for Region 7 under the housing program. How many are active is another question, because you may have persons who move on, or persons who are migrated, or persons who have moved on to other parts of our country. As a result, because of the development of that area, you see infrastructure work is ongoing. So we have 3 lots for which the infrastructure work is nearing completion. We just have the drains and the pipe network to put in place for the area. We're spending $1.087 billion to develop this phase 2, 5 miles of Bartica area.
Minister Crowell indicated that by the time payments have been completed for the land, access will be available to the area for construction. The ministry will also be introducing houses in the region under its program.
We are going to be given a commitment. We must construct some houses here. And the market forces, the response, will determine the availability or the ability to pay for those houses. Mind you, this is not the real estate business. So I'm speaking to persons who are pending applicants who are interested in the houses versus the land. Are we clear? This is not the case with building houses and selling to anyone. Has to be part of our housing program.
Further, some 38 families who have qualified for the Steel and Cement Subsidy Initiative received their vouchers to aid with the construction of their homes. The subsidy is the brainchild of President Irfan Ali to provide support in the form of building materials for Guyanese seeking to construct their homes, whether on government-allocated or private lands. Rupa Sinarine, The Evening News.
Cattle, sheep and goats are dying in the savannas between the numbers 52 and 66 villages on the Corentyne coast in Region 6, East Berbice Corentyne, because the Corentyne savannas are drying up due to the current El Niño phenomenon. Our Berbice correspondent Andrew Carmichael recently visited the savannas and filed this report.
Scores of farmers rear thousands of animals on the 12,000 of the 20,000-acre savanna designated as pasture land. Currently, most of these animals do not have water to drink, even with efforts being made by farmers to access water from the Seaforth Canal. Water from the CANJE River is being pumped into the Seaforth Canal by the Region 6 administration. Even worse is the fact that the grass on the pasture has almost dried up. Farmers say they are losing animals daily as cattle are finding it difficult to feed on the land. Lal Bihari Sitaram, who has 300 heads of cattle, says he has been pumping water every other day into the land.
Pasture very bad. No grass, no water. I pump water every one day after for them animal and the animal. Most of them are pine away and dead out.
How many?
About 30 head dead for me already.
How recent?
Them a walk and follow and dead. Up to yesterday, 2 of them dead. And move plenty maga one day.
How much longer you think you could rally out if rain fall?
Hello. Them might talk about till December month rain will fall, you know, so none might left.
Many of the animals have lost a lot of weight and are feeble. Sitaram says he has nowhere to carry them so that they can get food. Each head of cattle cost an average of $90,000, but now because of the state of the animals, Sitaram says if he tries to sell them, he will not be able to get more than $40,000 per head. The cattle farmer predicts that all of the animals will die if there is no urgent assistance.
Let's see if this government can come in and take one canal, like, you know, and we can see and full of water because of the back there.
So where you get water from to fill this canal?
The front trench, they got to keep the pump working at Manavizi, and the trench will get some, and we'll get the water from there.
That trench he was referring to is the Seaforth Canal. Currently, sections of it are blocked, thus making it difficult for a steady flow of water even with the pumps currently working. Meanwhile, Totaram Rohit, who has about 100 heads of sheep and about 50 heads of goat, said he had more, but persons have been stealing his animals.
They come and tie down a watchman here at night, go away 3 big flat ram and 17 mama sheep. And now, me even get 10 ram sheep, me buy all 10 thief out. 150,000 a piece me pay for the ram sheep. They bring a ram from Brazil, same thing, thief out.
Rohit said he's also lost some of the animals as a result of the current weather conditions.
Well, the driver, I get a little, you know, see, I give them molasses water, I will drink to survive. Otherwise, everything dead out there.
Animal farmers are desperately hoping that the skies will open up and rain will start falling. However, it is not clearly known when this current weather pattern will change. From the 5266 Savannah, for the Evening News, Andrew Carmichael.
And now for a look at the bridge reports.
The Demerara Harbour Bridge will be closed to vehicular traffic on Sunday, March 3, 2024 at 22 hours 30 for a period of 1.5 hours. Meanwhile, the Berbice River Bridge is expected to be closed at 8 hours 30 on Sunday, March 3, 2024, also for a period of 1.5 hours.
And now, the local stock exchange market, compliments of Gassi. CARICOM offering support for hosting of T20 World Cup. This and more coming up in the Sportscast, sponsored by McCorp.
Looking to bring your dream home to reality? Or simply taking on a home improvement project? Then National Hardware Limited is where you should start. Let us put that touch to your home. Choose from over 1,000 Berger Paint original hues for any surface. We are known for our trusted brands such as Westinghouse, Phillips, Sadco, Rubbermaid, Pyrex, Gibson Home, and so much more. National Hardware Limited, your do-it-best store. Located in downtown Georgetown and industrial site Rhymeville.